And now the news with Arthur Glockenspiel in the key of E.
Thank you, Fiona. Today in the city of Liverpool, OBE, it was the occasion of the recording of yet another Beatleplaces podcast with Mark and Col, in spite of the court injunction and the 50-page petition. Mark arrived in typical style in his gold stretch limo and stretch pyjamas and was greeted by literally hundreds of people who didn't know who he was. After he was escorted out of the garden centre, he reset his sat-nav and finally made it to Col's house 5 minutes later, arriving with a portion of scallops under one arm and a red carpet under the other, which he duly unrolled for himself, leading up to Col's 2 up, 2 down, semi-condemned bungalow. Col, meanwhile, was sleeping off another gruelling shift at Doze You Like, where he worked as a mattress tester. There was a knock at the door. Told you.
Oi!
What?
Get up, lazy lumps. We've got a podcast to do. Open the door and let me in. In that order, please.
Oh, it's you.
I'm not you. See, it says on my library phone, I'm Mark. You know, me. M-A... forget it. It's Beatleplaces Podcast time.
What about the court injunction?
Stop brushing your teeth, will you?
And the petition.
That stuff them. What do they know about taste?
More importantly, where can I spit?
Where can you spit? Oh, hey up, tempus fugus. Let's get cracking with the theme tune.
The what spoon?
The theme tune.
The theme tune?
Aye.
The theme tune.
The theme tune.
The theme tune.
What theme tune?
That theme tune.
This one?
This one there. Not that one over there.
That one.
That one, yeah. We'll have that one, please.
Now. Hello. Hi. Hello. Welcome. Hi. It's a sheer delight, nay a pleasure, to present one more Beatleplaces podcast with Mark and Col. Those zany podcast people.
Oh yeah.
Last time I looked.
Last time I looked.
You were Col.
Aye, that's right.
Aye.
And in the other corner of this padded studio is magnificent Mark.
Aye. And we've turned up, tuned up.
And turned up and settled in.
So let's put on an Edison, if I can say it properly.
Edison
an Edison cylinder roll.
Oh, my.
And record our latest Beatles podcast. Shall we?
I think so, yeah. But let's not forget who we are.
That's
Glenister.
Mark
Glenister over
yes,
there.
Corns trimmed while you wait.
And I'm Colin Gardner.
His teeth are back from the menders, looking marvellous, and his tongue, though, is still under warranty, so if it fails, it's not my fault.
Showtime.
Hey. Right then.
Well, hello.
Oh. Well, hello.
Well, I'm not helloing to you. I'm helloing to the audience.
Everybody listening tonight.
Yeah, whoever that might be.
Welcome to Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col.
Mark and Col, I keep saying that.
Yet another one.
Yeah, well, we can't help it. We just enjoy ourselves, and we hope you get a bit of enjoyment out of it at the end of the day. So
and what are we doing this time?
we're doing Beatles with an A, the series that never ends until the alphabet stops.
Aye.
And this time it's the letter E.
E?
E as in A up.
E.
And EEC. So this time around, Mark and me are here in the comfort of my own, and we're going to talk about Beatle places and Beatle people and Beatle songs and Beatle things.
Aye.
Pretty much takes up everything.
Most of it beginning with letter E.
Aye. Or E. Sorry, I said I, didn't I? I mean, that's an A. That's an A one.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Windy necking,
Oh,
Col.
you?
Or you over there.
Oh.
So guess what, folks? In this podcast, we'll have the usual tripe. We've got our Beatleplaces pop quiz. Mark will be doing some Beatle questions to astound and confuse. Me too. We'll be looking at Beatle family trees in one way or the other. And we'll just have a whole bunch of stuff which might just interest you while you're walking the dog, running a mile, boiling the kettle, or just making the beds, or just having a good old doze. This will keep you awake.
Certainly will. Right. What should I do first? Should I start on the letter E?
That one over there.
I'll do this one. How about the song called Eleanor Rigby?
It's got an E in it.
It has. It starts with an E. And it's got another one in it as well,
Oh,
a bit further on. Anyway, written by Paul and John, but Paul had the original idea for the song when he was looking in a shop window in Bristol, and he liked the name above the shop, Daisy Hawkins. So playing with a name in his head, it turned into rhythm, and then into Eleanor Rigby. He'd written most of the words by the time the group came to record it, but the last verse was made up in the studio. Paul recorded the vocal for the number on April the 20th, and 8 days later, 4 violins, 2 violas and 2 cellos played by session men were added. The song has become very popular for cover versions by other artists. Ray Charles had a minor hit with it in 1968 in August.
Really?
He did. When it got in the NME top 30 for 2 weeks. Its highest position was number 25. Aretha Franklin's version in America reached number 23.
Now that'd be good.
And was in the top 30 there for 4 weeks. So that is Eleanor Rigby.
Yeah.
In 1966.
We've in the older podcast before this one, in podcasts of yore, we did the real name of Eleanor Rigby, and
tell me about it.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
I'll pick it up after we've had a little wee break.
Right.
But let's talk about some Beatle people, and there's plenty of them because the Beatles mixed with nearly everybody you could ever think of. One character who was a local lad who made pretty good, had his time in the sun, was a fellow called Kenny Everett. Kenny Everett. And he was a radio DJ, no more, no less. And simple, humble beginnings. He was an office clerk and he liked the radio and he wants to be a disc jockey, as they called him at the time. And he came from a place called Seaforth, which is North Liverpool. So he's a Scouser right enough. But there he was. Real name was Morris Cole, as Mark probably already knows that.
Aye.
And after he was working in an office and then a bakery, he managed to join a radio pirate ship, of its time, beginning with one called Radio London. And he just got a reputation for being very zany, very weird, very interesting, very inventive. He played around with tape speeds and noises, and he spent a lot of time editing his shows because they were fantastically weird. And in time, the Beatles got to hear about these sort of productions. They were keen on pirate radio as well. And before you knew it, he was on telly. He was making all kinds of appearances in other shows. And he just went to the top of the tree in terms of being a radio DJ. But while the Beatles knew him, they took him on their American tour, which allowed him to record things and have some fairly intimate conversations with them. What Mark remembers is that Kenny Everett produced some of the later Beatle Christmas records.
He did.
And
he did.
You can notice the difference because some of them are just straight through conversations of hello, we're the Beatles. This is Paul, this is Ringo, this is Albert, and it's Happy Christmas, and that's the end of the Christmas record. But then they got a bit more inventive with stories and noises, and Kenny Everett was responsible for all them.
All sound effects and stuff like that, and fiddly little fiddly bits which Kenny Everett seemed to enjoy doing, editing bits together and all sorts of stuff.
What you can pick up of him off the internet and find out about him on the internet, you can see it's kind of trickled in, saturated into Beatles' work. He was the first DJ, I think, on record who played Sgt. Pepper's all the way through. The album came out and he made sure people heard about it soon enough. He was just one of them guys who was fantastically good at what he did. And he had a later existence as a TV personality, doing comedy routines and having TV shows. He was always a little bit confrontational and a little bit sort of sensational because he would always say the wrong thing and get in trouble for it. But Kenny Everett was there when it all mattered. And being a Scouser, he was always kind of well-liked by the band because he knew their sense of humour and he carried it off pretty well himself. He died when he was 51, sadly, early 94. And that was Kenny Everett, also known as Morris Cole.
He's a lovely man. He sent me on he introduced me to Steely Dan and other little bits that you used to play.
Bonzos, maybe?
No, not the Bonzos, but he sort of put me on the track of listening to other records and stuff like that.
Appreciating
Appreciate
music,
it.
yeah,
That's the right
so
word.
that's the word you were looking for in that
It
dictionary.
was, yeah.
in
Well,
front
thank you
of
very
me.
much for that. Yeah.
I've got other words in this dictionary. I'll show you later.
Right.
Thanks.
Tell you what. What's that music playing?
Do you know, if you listen hard, it could be, I'm not sure, is it a tuba?
I don't know. Let's have a listen.
Nah, it's not.
No,
tuba.
it's a guitar, that, isn't it?
Guitar.
Definitely
yeah,
a guitar.
Yeah, guitar, yes. Played by a very good guitarist.
I believe so, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
his name escapes me, but he'll be back with more later.
Righto.
It's Beatleplaces Podcast. It's Mark, it's Col,
Aye.
and it's time for a Beatle Place.
Go on then.
So, what do we know about letters E and the Beatles? Well, one of the E Beatle places was Esher. Esher, which is spelt a funny way, E-S-H-E-R. So if you're as idiotic as me, I'd say Escher, if I could. But that's the name of an Austrian artist. So let's not go there.
Very good,
It's
very good.
actually Esher, which is a posh part of... which part? Which county is it in? Is it Surrey?
I think it is Surrey.
Well, anyway, down south, that's where it is. And that's what the Beatles did. They lived in pretty much the stockbroker belt of London when they had some money come their way. And that's the thing. They all bought nice houses, and Paul bought one in sort of central London, not far from Abbey Road. But that's not a letter E. But Esher is the place where Kinfauns was. And Kinfauns was John's house to begin with, and it was on the Claremont estate. Kinfauns was a single-storey house situated at 16 Claremont Drive on a private estate, similar to where John and Ringo lived at the time in Surrey. And it was owned by the National Trust. It was the home, I've got this back to front, haven't I? I'm all over the place here. The other place was where John lived. This was the home to George Harrison and Batty Boyd from about 1965 to about 1969. George decided to make it unique and painted it with vivid psychedelic colours. And there's pictures of him doing this. He's kind of doing a fresco around the house.
Outside or inside?
Outside.
Outside.
And I'd have put a damn course in if I were you. But, you know, that's what George did. The bungalow had two wings to it, and I don't mean like in a pigeon sense, but which is a rectangular courtyard at the back. In this, he has a heated swimming pool.
Ooh, bijou.
Yeah. He has no Beatle gold discs or souvenirs in sight in the building. The Beatles recorded plenty of demos here in May of 1968 for, guess what, the White Album. And these are known as the Esher demos, which you can find online. You look hard enough. Well, you don't even have to look hard enough. It's there. And all the favourites are there, including versions of songs that had different names when they came out on record, like Child of Nature became Jealous Guy, and there's a few others.
Well.
So on the day Paul and Linda married, Sergeant Norman Pilcher of the drug squad, previously arrested John and Yoko, arrived at this house. So all kinds of things happened, and it's a Beatle place of note, but it doesn't get talked about too much. It was George's first marital home. That's the main important thing.
Well, there we go.
And another E to go with George, and roundabouts where that is. He also got married in a place called Epsom, E for Epsom, E-P-S-O-M, a register office in Ashley House in January of 1966, where there he married Patty Boyd. The best men were Brian Epstein and Paul McCartney.
How about another Beatles song?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, give us something interesting.
Right, this is 8 Days a Week, funnily enough, beginning with an E. Written jointly by John and Paul, who also share the vocals, with George helping occasionally. This was probably the first song to feature a fade-in at the beginning of the record, as opposed to a fade-out at the end. This song, along with No Reply and I'm a Loser, was originally being considered as a potential single in Britain until John came up with I Feel Fine, one of my first records. I bought that one. Well, I didn't buy it as a Christmas present, but I Feel Fine. Though not released in Britain as a single, 8 Days a Week did find its way onto a 45 in the form of an EP extract from the album Beatles for Sale. So that was 2 minutes 42 of 8 Days a Week back in 1965. Before I mean,
it must be. Yeah.
64.
But the story how we got that 8 days a week song is always out there, isn't it? It's the one about the fact, I think, that Paul had a few problems with driving. He'd been banned around 1963-64 from driving, and he was chauffeured everywhere. And when he was chauffeured to go and see John on a songwriting session, he talked to the driver on the way, because Paul's a pretty affable guy. And he asked him how busy he'd been. Most people get asked that if they're taxi drivers. And the guy said, I've been busy. I've been working 8 days a week. And Paul remembered this little wee phrase. And he took it into the songwriting session. So everything it was like synchronicity. It just fell into place at the time.
Yeah.
I've also seen the court records of the driving ban, which you can find if you look local in the archives in Liverpool anyway. There are records of court appearances, and this is what happened to Paul. He was speeding. It happens to some people, and they get caught. You never get caught, do you, Marcus?
No.
You always have your lights off when you drive at night.
Can't see me, don't you see?
Yeah. So, and I've actually seen the court records. They're only very simple things because he wasn't famous then. So he was always getting caught driving up a place Mark will know pretty well called Seabank Road, which is a place called Wallasey. And this was obviously after he'd been to playing in a gig at New Brighton Ballroom, the New Brighton Ballroom Place. He would nip off home sharpish in his nice car, but he would always drive too fast and get caught doing it. And he just got caught always nearly the same way, same time, same place. So he got caught at least twice, but definitely 3 times. Because the court report or PC 92 found him doing 33 1/3 miles per hour at such a road, such a time. The accused was not able to produce documents because he'd been playing a gig, hadn't he? So he didn't produce his driving license and his motor certificates at the time, and so he attended a course. Now the court he did attend to eventually. He missed a few appearances in court because he was literally doing a tour with the band. And the one that comes to mind is it's a lovely building. It's not what it is now. It's a building in a place called Liskeard, which is a big old court building, and Paul was there. And I looked at the records for the court appearance that day, and Paul's there, obviously paying his dues. He must have paid. He was banned and he was fined, and that's all very well. But Paul could afford it at the time, and he could afford to be banned. Come to think of it, he was doing that well, so he could afford to be banned for a year. But the thing I liked around the court records for that was all the other people who were in the court for whatever other things they'd done. These were people who battered their hamsters, or they sort of broken into a
one of many
chip shop or something.
He was one of many miscreants that day.
That's how it was. Yeah. And I was thinking, there he was sat on a big old bench waiting his turn. McCartney, waiting to go in to see the judge to be told what to do. And all these other miscreants are next to him going, what are you in for? What are you doing? Like that. Must have been a heck of a time. So that's a lovely building which is in the Beatleplaces book, I think. Not a picture of it. It's on my Instagram if you're looking for it. There you go. Some background to 8 days a week.
Smashing. What's this programme we're listening to at the moment?
It's called
Beatleplaces
Podcast
with Mark
and Col.
Together in stereo. Right. How about after this little jingle, I'll do a quiz.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Which jingle would you like, sir?
I'll have
big pink fluffy one.
No, I don't want that one.
How about the blue one? That's a new one.
Yes, please. I'll have that one.
Like that. We've got that in 2 sizes, sir.
Right.
We've got the funny one and the not quite so funny one.
I'll have the not quite so funny one, please.
Coming right up.
Giving unemployed, good-looking, tall, handsome, well-groomed voiceover artists a bit of part-time work. It's the Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col.
Is that all right?
Yes, it's fine. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next.
Well, that was good.
And it wasn't funny either, but there you go.
Well, no, you can't win everything, can you? Can't have... Right, a little quiz.
Okay.
I've designed this one specifically. Right.
So you were in the bath doing nothing in particular?
Yes. This is called What Track Follows?
Oh, crikey.
Right. Right, I'm going to give you 3 tracks, and I want to know the track that follows it on the album.
Right.
It's not all the same album, all various ones. So
greatest hits won't count.
No, I haven't done a greatest hits.
No, it'll be everything's off the greatest hits. So.
Yeah. Right. First track is Why Don't We Do It in the Road? All right.
Do you want the answer now, or do I have to
just have a little thing.
Stew?
I'll ask you. There's 2 more questions.
Okay,
I'll ask
cool.
you. So the first track, first question: Why don't we do it in the road? Which track follows that one? Okay. And then the next track, And Your Bird Can Sing. What follows that one?
Yeah.
It's hard, isn't it? This.
While I've remembered them, I want to say them. So.
And then the last one off the last album. Something. What follows the song called Something? So, Why Don't We Do It in the Road? What track follows that? And Your Bird Can Sing. What follows that? And what follows Something?
Wow.
The
These are
album
good.
Abbey Road.
These are good. I like
All
these. All right, here's me a
Right, go on. Have a little go. Have a think.
First song was Why Don't We Do It in the Road?
Yeah. From the White Album.
From the White Album, 1968. And I think it segues into I Will.
You are 100% correct there. Well done, Mr. Gardner.
The next song was...
Next one. And Your Bird Can
And Your
Sing.
Bird Can Sing. I say bird, you say bird.
Bird.
And Your Bird Can Sing.
And Your Bird Can Sing, yes.
And I think it's She Said, She Said.
No, I'm afraid not. I'm afraid I'll have to take that money off you that you've won already.
Oh! Damn it.
And Your Bird Can Sing is followed by For No One.
Is it really?
According to my records, yes.
Yeah. But on the Japanese version,
All right.
it's a little bit... No,
You're clutching at straws
Yeah,
now.
I'm guessing.
And the last track,
Something.
Something. What track follows Something?
Is it I Want You?
No, that's on
Happy
the
Road.
first side of I Want You, I think, is on
So
side
I'm
A.
allowed one more guess,
Go on.
I think.
I'll give you a clue.
Maxwell, Silver Hammer.
Correct.
Bit of a clue.
A bit of a clue there.
Yeah. Well,
not bad,
there
that.
we
Yeah.
go.
So Why Don't We Do It in the Road, followed by I Will. And Your Bird Can Sing, followed by For No One. And Something is followed by Maxwell's Silver Hammer.
That's very good.
A bit later on in this wonderful show we have going is What is the track before?
Oh, damn it. It's
Blimey O'Reilly.
Double damn it.
Yes.
Thanks, Mark.
Right.
He makes a difference to my day, as you can tell.
Ruins it completely.
Well, if you're all right, I'm pepped up to talk about some Beatle people in the letter of E.
Off you
and,
pop, then.
And if you don't mind, who
Great.
knows about Royston Ellis?
Ah.
Royston Ellis. Does anybody remember Royston? Well, now you're going to be reminded. About the same age as the Beatles, born in 1941, he was an author and what's called a beat poet. He was born in a place called Pinner in Sussex. And, Pinner is where Elton John's from, so that'll be... oh golly, where is Essex? I think it might be Essex. Supremely intelligent, it says, free-spirited, left school at 16, and he was determined to make it as a poet. So really one of the first kind of fellas who wanted to make an effort to be different and buck the trend of normality in that time. So just like Allen Ginsberg in America, he read poetry out with jazz music in the background, and he just became sort of interested in doing something called rocketry, rock and roll and poetry, and it was never really took off with that name, but it was called rocketry. So how weird. But he produced some books on his poetry, and he sort of toured circuits, and eventually he managed to make it to Liverpool, and he met the Beatles in a place called the Jacaranda Club. That was one of the sort of first meeting places where the art students would go, have a coffee, listen to music for free, stay there all day with the one coffee, and just meet up with each other as cheaply as possible. Also, opposite the Jacaranda was where all the art students would buy their art equipment, a place called Jackson's. So it was kind of a place where people congrued, met up, turned up. And Royston was there performing his poetry. And the thing I remember about Royston Ellis was he was sort of, he hung around them for a few days, got to know them. He met them in another place called the Channel Islands. on a tour that they did. They met up with them then. But at the time, they were nobody, and he was trying to be a somebody. He was more famous than them. And he met them in a jacaranda, and he introduced them to, let's say, drugs, in quotes. But what I mean by those drugs is, you know, the benzodrine strip you find in a Vicks Inhaler tube.
Oh, yes.
It's that piece of paper which has got that perforated smell in it, which helps you breathe.
Yeah.
And I've got two in my nostrils now as you speak.
I wondered what that was.
And there's one in my ear, if you haven't noticed. There you go.
No, I hadn't noticed that one.
Okay.
Thanks for pointing that out.
So Royston introduced them to chewing that sort of thing. Now, it's not recommended you lot do it, and I'm sure you'll find other things are more stimulating these days. But that was their first introduction to drugs. And Royston was responsible. So, like I said, he got to meet them again when they were touring Jersey and doing tours, branching out from the UK. And that's where the Beatles were. So he met them again. And he kind of just went to the background, really, did nothing. He sits at home and he lives in a place called Sri Lanka now. And there he just writes travel books. So obviously one or two of them includes his trip to Liverpool when he met the Beatles and introduced them to the kinky effects of a Vicks inhaler.
Wow. I'll have to have a go with that when I go home.
In a minute, I'll lend you one of mine.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
You're listening to Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
I hope you're enjoying this load of old cobblers. And we're up to letter E.
Yes.
On our quest of digging all the way through the alphabet.
It looks fairly uphill from here.
I think Z's going to be quite a short show, really.
Oh, well, there's Zapple.
And that's it, really.
And good night. And good night. Good night, folks.
Hello and goodbye. A quick little thing, 2 minutes 25 of a song off the White Album called Everybody's Got Something to Hide Except Me and My Monkey, which is quite a strange title for a song.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that.
One of the longest titles of a song that they've written, really.
Yeah, tell us all about it.
It was written by John, who sings lead, with Paul and George helping, obviously. Originally called Come On, Come On, because they are come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, from the first line of the words. And recording began at EMI on July the 31st. And that's about all I can say about it, really. It's sort of a quick thing, unless you have something else.
If you don't mind, I will.
Go on, then.
I'll look up the thing, because it's obviously, why has it got a title like that? What's it about? What does it really mean? And so on. So if I can dig up what it is from one of the various books I've got. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Oh yeah. I found it now. Stop where you are. Yeah, continuing with what Mark said, what the various books we've got, it says, everybody's got something to hide except me and my monkey, recorded by John, recorded in the July of 68, or it turned up on the Beatles album, White Album, To You and Me. It was a very loud, very shouty, come on, sort of a rocker, with the longest title of any Beatles song out there. What does it all mean? Well, whatever you want it to, or the opposite, for your inside is out, your outside is in. The monkey, so it would appear, was Yoko, as people were not being very kind to her, and only Chic and John knew what was going on in the world, it seems to them. Or monkey could have been a drug reference. You can kind of interpret it any blooming direction you like, really. Having got the title, John just resorted to making up the rest of the words, but being quite loud about it.
Yeah, which he did on a lot of songs, really. It's as part of his...
Can't blame him, yeah. Can't blame him.
Part of it how he wrote songs. He just played around with words. He loved words and played around with them. I saw
a quote the other day that he was telling Dylan, or somebody who appreciated his songwriting. He said, well, my idea is say something honestly, make it rhyme, and bang a tune on the back of it. And he really simplified the... So I've been trying that for the last 7 months. I've gotten nowhere.
There you go.
So, anyway, interesting song. Good question.
Right.
Would you like a little bit of a taster? Because you gave me a
go on, you give me one.
A bit of an embarrassment there.
Go on, give me a couple of questions.
Okay. I've got one of the books I did, which is the Brain Buster Beatles Quiz book. It's out there now, folks. Yeah,
Right.
your mother's.
I'm ready.
Your mother's, and your mother should know is the title round. Your
Right.
mother should know. All about Beatle mums. Okay, I may as well give you them all, so we answer them as you go. What job did Julia Lennon have?
I don't know. I've forgotten.
She was a cinema usherette.
Oh, was she now?
I think she worked at a place called the Trocadero, and she was very popular. Apparently, a lot of fellas kept going to the same film again and again because she was like serving cigarettes and ice creams and hot dogs.
Had her own torch and everything.
Oh yeah, batteries included.
Very good.
Which hospital? Shut up. Which hospital did Mary McCartney work as a midwife? If you know it, you know it. If you don't, you don't.
Oh, I would say...
Pick an Aussie.
Pick a Hozzy.
What ones do you know in Liverpool?
The maternity hospital.
Yeah, no, that's an answer. It was.
But it's not the right one.
She was a midwife, so she'd be in a maternity hospital.
That's all I can think of, really.
Well, there was the Oxford Street, which is
the
university-related building where John was born.
Aye.
She weren't there.
No.
She was in Walton Hospital. Walton, yeah. And the boss of it was a lady called Hilda Knipe. And we're going to talk about her when we do the K's.
Oh.
Yeah. So Mary McCartney worked in Walton Hospital. Ringo's mum, Elsie, worked at which department store? Now, she was a cake confectioner type lady. She made cakes, she sold cakes. But which department store? It's a very popular store. And if you and I know Liverpool well, it's at the corner of Lord Street and Church Street. It's opposite what is now the McDonald's in Church Street. Ugh. And it's on the corner. It was in a corner shop. Now, there were some very big department stores in Liverpool when we were kids.
Was it Henderson's?
It was not. But that's a name from the past. It's a department store from the past. It was in Liverpool, but it wasn't that one.
I would say, go on, TJ Hughes.
Actually, that was a bit of a latecomer, TJ's.
That was
no, it was
clutching at straws.
Coopers.
Oh,
Coopers.
Don't know that one.
Coopers. There's still a sort of Coopers sign on the corner store. Now it's become another chain store, like a clothes shop or something. But the word Coopers is up there if you look hard enough. What was George Mum's maiden name? George Mum's maiden name.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, people who do know will shout out the word French.
Oh.
She was Louise French.
Was she now?
Yeah. A lot of interesting backstory to that.
Quite a nice name, that,
It is,
really.
yeah. And there's an Irish clan of the Frenches, and it had 2 F's in it. 2 F's to
A
begin
big
with.
F and a little one after
Yeah,
it.
you got it. Oh, you've seen it before. Another question: whom did Julia live with as common law husband and wife?
Oh, I've forgotten his name.
You'll get there. I'll give you.
I'll have to go through all the names in the world.
Give you a clue.
I'll get there eventually. George.
Not far behind. John. He was John Dykins.
That's
and he had a nickname or two, which John gave him, which wasn't very nice. But there he was.
I can imagine.
He was a nice enough fella, but he was like a salesman, and then he later became a waiter, a sort of wine waiter. What's the word for a wine waiter?
Sommelier.
Yeah, I can from here, mister. Yeah. So I did this. It's on my Instagram at the moment. What cemetery was Mary McCartney buried at? If I said West Derby, would you remember any more? Can you think of any cemeteries in West Derby, Liverpool?
I can't. No.
Okay. The answer is Yew Tree, which is a lovely name. Lovely name for a cemetery. Beats some of the others. What was Elsie Starkey's maiden name?
You've got me again there, I'm afraid. Yes, you're
so
doing
far
very
I'm doing
well.
great.
Yes, I'm
Mark's
doing
rubbish.
Yeah.
If her name is Gleave, and what you have to remember is that she married, a second marriage was to a fellow called Graves. Gleave, Graves, not too big a difference. Which Beatle mum had the most kids?
Ooh, I would say George's mum.
Yeah, Louise Harrison. Yeah, she had 4 kids, 1 daughter, 3 lads. Julia also had 4, when you think about it, but they weren't in wedlock. 1 wasn't, and not in wedlock. 3 of them at least. There you go. So it's an interesting, tricky question, that one. Which Beatles mum had a child adopted? You had a clue there.
I would say...
It's the correct answer.
John's
mum, Julia, she gave away a daughter called Victoria, and that was at a Salvation Army home for unmarried mothers. Wow. And that was the way of its time, in its time, and she gave up her child, who was given another name and became Ingrid Pedersen, but lived up in Crosby, another part of Liverpool, and John never met her.
No.
Finally, because you've done so well, I'll give you this one. Where did Julia Stanley marry Alfred Lennon?
Where?
Yeah.
In what the name of the place?
Yeah, good. If you can just the district might do. Maybe the country.
Oh, the country. Wales.
Liverpool, I'm afraid.
No, I don't know.
Mount Pleasant Registry Office.
I was thinking of that. That appeared in my head
a zillion times on the way up to the theatres and things.
Oh well.
And you just never glance at it anymore because the big yellow door there now, and that's where it happened. So some good questions there. Your mother should know. Play it back if you want to play it with your friends later on.
Super. Get all the questions right then.
Yeah, yeah. Play it backwards.
Let me tell you about the Empire Theatre, Colin.
Oh, yeah. That's a greatie. Yeah,
in Lime Street in Liverpool, it's the city's and most glamorous theatre where, on the 9th of June, 1957, the Quarrymen competed against other local hopefuls for the chance to appear on Carol, Mr. Starmaker Levi's TV show. They failed this audition, but were more successful when, as Johnny and the Moondogs, they competed here 3 times in October 1959, winning a place in the final round of auditions in Manchester. 2 weeks later, with the prospect of fame and fortune within their sights, John, Paul and George came back to Lime Street on the train from Manchester with their tails between their legs. The auditions had run on late into the evening. They didn't have the money to stay in Manchester overnight, so they had to come home before it was their turn to audition. When they returned to play the Empire again on the 28th of October 1962, the Beatles had really hit the big time in the eyes of their Liverpool fans, even though they took second billing to Little Richard, Craig Douglas, Kenny Lynch, Sounds Incorporated and Jet Harris. Over the next 2 years, the Beatles were to appear here on another 6 occasions, 2 of which were especially memorable. On the afternoon of the 7th of December 1963, they gave a special concert for 2,500 members of their Northern Area fan club and took part in the filming of Jukebox Jury.
They did.
To be added to the added delight of the same fans. That evening, as the Beatles gave 2 concerts at the Odeon Cinema round the corner from the Empire, 23 million television viewers saw the unique Jukebox Jury panel of John, George, Paul and Ringo pass judgment on a batch of the latest record releases. I used to love Jukebox Jury.
Yeah, I can't remember the theme tune, but it was an interesting show where...
I could sing it to you, but that would ruin it completely.
Yeah. The idea was a person would be in charge of the jukebox, pick a record out, you'd go, that'll be a hit, that'll be a miss. And sometimes the people who sang the song were in the background waiting for the results. Yeah, sometimes you could just say what was on the
that was a hit, that was awful, and then Fred and Ginger or whoever they were would come on and
here they are.
Yeah, you've ruined it for them. The Beatles' 11th and final appearance at the Empire took place on the 5th of December 1965. Little did their adoring fans know that it was also to be the very last time they were to perform in Liverpool as a group. However, George came back here on stage in 1969 with Delaney and Bonnie. Paul played here in 1973 and again in 1975 with Wings. And Ringo and his all-star band, featuring son Zach on drums, was here in 1992.
So they did come back, everyone except John.
Yeah. So directly opposite the Empire is St George's Hall, which is
very pretty.
One of the finest Greco-Roman style buildings in the world, which is when John was killed, they had a sort of a vigil there on the 3rd of December 2001, marking George Harrison's death 3 days earlier. But in 1981, No, one.
Well, there was one for John, there was one for George.
One for John and one for George.
And Ringo's even performed on top of St George's
He
Hall.
has for the
not that anyone
Capital of
noticed
Culture.
it. Yeah,
In 2008.
2008, yeah.
11th of January 2008.
Golly, yeah, he had his coat on that night. Must have been cold up there.
Aye.
So yeah, it's lovely round there. It's very, very sort of architecturally interesting, and you know, it's partially blotted out by a couple of grotty old chain stores and hotels and whatnot. But all the Liverpool buildings we love and adore, they're all around that area. Empire, St George's Hall, the museums, the libraries. It's great to hang around there. You get an essence of what it used to be like, just being there. But the Empire also had one of Paul's relatives working in the theatre, and he used to get Paul a chance to, I can't remember the guy's name, but it was a relative, a Harris or a McCartney, one of those family, and he would get them autographs and help Paul out, not sneak in, but get him autographs.
Aye.
As a school kid. So interesting place, the Empire. And what was the first time I went there as a kid, I went to see Jimmy Clitheroe.
Did you?
He was an old comedy star and he did a pantomime. And the last time I went to see them, might have been with you, I can't remember, was it the Bootlegs? We saw the Bootleg Beatles there once.
Was it, or was that at the
Phil again?
The Philharmonic? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But,
anyway,
there are lots of famous buildings around on Lime Street. There's Lime Street Station, of course. Maggie May.
Yeah.
Never walk down Lime Street anymore. There's Blackler's just around the corner there.
Yeah.
And Lewis's just a bit further down the road. Lots of things
they're still
related
there.
to the Beatles.
They're not called that no more.
They're not.
More's the pity. But we know.
Blackler's, where George used to work.
He did, he worked in the basement and various places.
He used to, as an electrician, he used to clean all the lights with a paintbrush, he said. Keep the grotto clean at Christmas, he did, he said.
He kept everyone going, that's the main thing. And he made I was probably there about that time, I can't remember now.
Long
time back. Yes.
What's next?
I think one of them. Not one of these, one of them.
Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Cole. Serious Radio. How right you were. That was very good.
It went quite well, I thought, yes.
What do you call that?
A big one.
Ah,
It's
right.
called a big one.
Super.
Welcome all. Welcome everyone. Good evening. Hello. Guten Tag. It's Col, it's Mark, it's Beatleplaces. We're doing Beatles with an A, an alphabetical meander through Beatles stuff. And it's Col here with the next Beatle thing. Letter E today.
E.
Letter E tonight. And a cough to go for nothing. There you go. Have that for free.
Very good.
Family trees, letter E. Who could that be? Brian Epstein's, of course.
Of course.
Just a brief story about Brian Epstein's family tree. I did a book on the family tree for all the Beatles, and that's a couple of pages each. But unfortunately, there wasn't much to Brian Epstein's family tree because he had a Russian background, and those records aren't really out there. You can find him once he's landed in the UK, and the Epstein family became residents of the UK and naturalised to the UK. But here's a story that I know of in terms of briefly. So I've already said in the family tree book how many twists and turns there were, how many tragedies and surprises, and that all the Beatles had as family members, the families within them, the losses they had, the sort of sad situations they were in. Brian Epstein had something similar. His family were all immigrants. They came to the UK, and they were just trying to avoid the Russian pogroms at the time, back in their old home countries. And when they did arrive, none of them could speak English, and yet they wanted to do something and make a life for themselves. So they landed in the north of England, and Brian Epstein, as you know, was born in 1934, but if you've got to go way back, his dad was a fellow called Harry Epstein. He was also born in Liverpool, but in 1904, and the story is that his dad, a fellow called Isaac Epstein, born in 1879, who began the Epstein Furniture Dealers, and he simply called it Epstein. The family originally lived in a place called Walton Road. It was above a shop, and then they moved up to a place called Anfield, which is near the very famous Liverpool Football Club. And the family consisted of father Isaac, his wife Dinah, children called Sarah, one was called Lazarus, nobody knew that. There was a Harry Epstein, there was a Gertrude Epstein. And they also had a housekeeper who was just a local lady called Sarah Swain. And she emigrated herself and went to live in Quebec in 1912. I know all this stuff, God, don't ask me how. So when Harry and Leslie joined the family firm, Isaac founded I. Epstein and Sons and enlarged his family business of furniture to take in some adjacent shops, and that included the sale of musical instruments. Sometimes what you would find is in the neighbourhoods of these places, people would come in and get furniture, but also they would sell their own furniture because maybe they needed the money or whatever it was. So in a fashion, these Epstein stores and places like Epstein's, furniture dealers, would buy furniture off people and sell it on, like a second-hand store. This included people who couldn't keep up payments. They would give in furniture to pay off debts, and that included people who would give a person a cello or a piano more often than not, and bring it into the store. And this happened to the guy who ran the music store, Hesse's. Same sort of deal, Jewish family, making a living, selling furniture, but also buying furniture to sell on. So recyclers. What it was that the family themselves, they came from a place called Zavoda in Konstantinovo in Russia, about 100 kilometers southeast of Moscow. They left Russia to escape the pogroms, came to Liverpool, and that's where he married a lady called Dinah in Prestwich, which is kind of Manchester way. She was born in Manchester herself, so there's always a connection there somehow if you look hard enough. And her parents were Joseph Hyman and Esther Hyman, and they came from a place called Plonsk in Mazowiecki in Poland. So Russia, Poland, all the combinations were there. As I remember it, I've seen the records of these two families when they became the Epstein family, and they were naturalised, and I've seen the official documents. It was about 1910, 1911 they became naturalised as UK citizens. I think they were doing that well. They were one of the first families who had a phone. I mean, our family had a phone in about 1972. It was kind of late, but they were doing that well by a matter of years. That they had phones, which is a big deal. And from that family, the Epsteins had Brian and his brother Clive, and you know the rest. Bit of the Epstein family tree there for you.
Super. Very good, Col.
How about that quiz, kid?
Right, here we go. Now, everybody, this is another little quiz. The previous quiz questions were what track follows. Well, I gave the three answers there.
Yeah.
But this one is what track is before the one I'm going to mention, which seems to be a bit harder now, because normally you think about a song finishing and what follows it, and you think, oh yeah, I know. But what track was before these ones? Okay, on the albums. What track came before The Fool on the Hill? And then what track came before Savoy Truffle on the White Album? And finally, what track came before A Day in the Life? Okay.
Oh, so, they're harder still.
Right. What track came before The Fool on the Hill?
Well, there was an EP of the Magical Mystery Tour, but the album would have had it. Was it Flying?
It wasn't. It was Magical Mystery Tour.
Oh, okay.
On the album, the American album.
Okay.
Because it wasn't a British album. It was an EP.
No, like I said, the EP was what I bought.
Yeah.
Little booklets that came with it. That was fine. That was enough.
So, Magical Mystery Tour was on the album before The Fool on the Hill. Okay.
Got it.
The next track, Savoy Truffle even.
Trouble.
Savoy Truffle. What came before Savoy Truffle on the White Album?
Is it Can You Take Me Back? Is it that song? That's a little interlude song?
No.
Okay, let me have another. Was it I Will?
It wasn't, I'm afraid. It was Honey Pie.
Golly.
Honey Pie. So,
hey, how about that for a
Honey Pie?
Doing well.
Well, if you think of the end of Honey Pie, And then the next track in your head is Savoy Truffle, isn't it?
You can hear the drums beginning, yeah.
And finally, what track came before A Day in the Life? I can hear all the listeners' ears and brains whirring away, tuning into what it could be. What came before A Day in the Life? Any idea?
I'm going to say it's With a Little Help from My Friends.
No, that's...
I'm doing really bad.
Day in the Life was the last track on the album, wasn't it?
And there was something just before that.
It was.
She's Leaving Home then.
No. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts
Oh,
Club
Reprise.
Band. Reprise.
Baloney.
Yeah. So that came before A Day in the Life. So,
You can hear it in your head now.
aye,
Yeah.
now you think about it.
Yeah.
There, I remember now. It's
Yeah.
all coming back. Aye.
Well, that's a damn fine way to do a quiz. Complicated, but it's very good, that.
I've got another one, finally.
Give me a gap.
In a couple of minutes.
Give me a gap. Let's have a gingle
Let's have a cup of tea.
and a slip of tea.
Right. And play that guitar, man.
A little out, yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, could have done with some tuba.
Yeah.
Or not, or maybe you phone
Maybe
him.
not.
Yeah, or maybe a day off. Welcome everyone, Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col. It's the feature called Beatles With An A, our alphabetical look around of Beatle things. Hello.
Well, hello.
So, Mark's been talking about Beatle songs, I've been mentioning the odd Beatle place and the odd Beatle person. This isn't an odd Beatle person, he's a lovely fella, Jeff Emmerich. Jeff Emmerich, who's still, God bless him, still around, doing the tours of all the Beatles shows. He was a recording engineer, born in London in 1946. He was just an ordinary trainee at EMI when he was 15. And he was on his second day at work, being looked after by Norman, quote, Hurricane Smith, who looked after him, and he assisted on the first EMI session with John, Paul, George and Ringo. So imagine all that. There they were, meeting him. He was there, not being that sure. He worked with various other people like Manfred Mann, the Hollies, even Judy Garland. He was at the Beatles sessions with Norman Smith right up until 1966, all the key stuff. At which point he took over as a recording engineer and proved his challenge with Tomorrow Never Knows, Strawberry Fields Forever, being for the benefit of Mr. Kite, calling for innovative thinking and experimentation. Well, that's another guy to call on apart from George Martin. How clever were they? He certainly did well for it because he won a lot of Grammys for the efforts he made with Sgt. Pepper and Abbey Road. But he did leave the Beatles for just a wee time around 1968 because he was just sick and tired of all their squabbling. So that must have been something to see. He helped to build the Apple Studio, which I can't remember the location of it now, but there we are. During the 70s and the 80s, he worked with other bands, you can imagine who. There was Badfinger and Old Apple aficionados. There was Robin Trower, even Elvis Costello, and a bit of Art Garfunkel on the side. He helped Kate Bush do quite well and begin her career, and he worked on several of McCartney's albums, including Band on the Run. So all these are key elements of a very popular man. Paul was best man at Jeff's wedding in 1979, and he worked with the outtakes and the unreleased cuts when the anthology needed putting together. In 2003, Jeff received a special Grammy, which became his fourth Grammy, for all that technical work he'd put together. And in 2006, he wrote a little book called Here, There and Everywhere. Jeff Emmerich.
You see his name all over the place, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, in his heyday, he was just a guy in the background doing what he was paid to do. But if we hadn't have had him, like George Martin, wouldn't be the same.
No.
Wouldn't be the same.
Certainly not, no.
There you go.
Very
a
good.
Beatle person on Beatle Places with Mark and Col.
Super.
What you got?
All I can think of now really is a final little little quiz.
You did threaten me.
This one is called B-Sides. I'd like to know what's on the B-side of these singles. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I might be.
You might be. What is on the B-side of I Feel Fine?
She's a Woman.
It is. Well done.
I got one right.
You got one right. Well done.
Hold on while I do a lap of honour.
Here's £5. What is on the B-side of Paperback Writer? Don't
Rain.
shout it. Don't. I was going to say, don't shout it out too quickly because
Oh.
let the listeners have a listen.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll do the next one right then.
Right. Okay.
Rain,
So
but Rain was best.
Rain was on the
Paperback
back,
Writer, as far as
on the
I'm
back
concerned.
of Paperback
Should have been
Writer.
A-side, mate.
Aye. And finally, what is the B-side of Day Tripper?
Professional pause.
Professional pause, a big breath,
Dramatic gaff.
think, and the answer is
I don't know.
you don't know. How about we can work it out?
Well, that'd be a double A-side then, wouldn't it? So that's what it was. They're both as good as each other.
Aye.
I've forgotten that one. Clean forgotten.
So there you go.
That was the time when they could write songs to that standard that
Yep.
often. Blimey.
One after the other.
Great those quizzes. Thanks, Mark. Very well. Good to have his contribution on the show. And he'll be back with more when we do another podcast.
Aye.
Did I have any more for you? Well, I had the usual gubbins. How are we for time?
It's why?
Yeah, because I'm just
It's
conscious.
getting that way.
I'm conscious of it.
Because people will be thinking, it must be near the end now.
My bus is about to come. Yeah.
I want to go to bed.
Hurry up, my pizza's ready. So, let's name the Beatles songs that I've got the letter E in them.
Go on,
Can
then.
you guess what they are, folks?
Right.
I'll give you a hint. They've got a letter E in them. And these are those songs, the ones we know of anyway. There is 8 Days a Week. Mark talked about it before. There's
Yeah.
Eleanor Rigby. Mark talked about it before. Every Little Thing.
Yep.
Everybody's got something to hide, except for me and my monkey.
Yep.
And there's another Everybody. Can you remember what that one is?
Trying to be my baby.
Yeah. And would you say this is the end?
Yeah, it's the shortest song written by the Beatles, The End.
Oh, okay.
And it's not listed on... well, it is listed, but the track that follows it isn't listed.
Oh, the dog whistle. The dog
the
whistle.
high-pitched
And gibberish.
whistling. And
Yeah.
it never could be any other way.
Yeah, you're always going on about that. I mean, it's interesting, but you know, we also had other aspects of Beatle people. Tell me if you don't know, if you can think of anyone else other than these people. Linda Eastman. There was Lee Eastman, who became Paul's sort of manager thereafter.
Aye.
In his Wings heyday. There was Peter Eckhorn, who was to do with their Hamburg days. There was Heinz Edelman. Any clues as to who he is?
Not off the top of my head.
Well, if I remember right, and I'm just double checking while I'm talking to you,
Not just Heinz himself. Not that man.
oh yeah, it's him. Yeah, no, not Heinz the Beans man,
No, I don't mean him.
or Heinz the singing man with
that's
the
who I
with
meant.
the
The
you know,
blonde
very
hair.
blondie hair,
Aye.
who was familiar with a bottle of bleach. Heinz Edelman was kind of a cartoon animator, and he was the one who kind of rallied forth and. Beyond the Beatle cartoon TV series, he got the Yellow Submarine movie made. So that's who he is. Bit of not too much for him, but he's gone now. 2009, he sadly passed on.
Oh, well.
So Heinz Edelman. We talked tonight about Royston Ellis, the beat poet, and the Vicks Inhaler salesman. Then we talked about Brian Epstein and his little sort of back history of his family tree, which is kind of interesting. I'd love to have known more about that, but that's all there is. We missed out one of the big guys who was a Beatle person, Mal Evans. We've talked about him many a time on other podcasts. His backstory is fairly familiar to most of you if you listen to other shows. And I would love to have met him. I would love to have met him and Ivan Vaughan. They're the two people. Beatles are great. You do want to meet them. But I'd love to have met Mal Evans and Ivan Vaughan because I just wanted to know them. And of course, we chunned on about, well, I did. Kenny Everett.
Yep, I'd have loved to have met him. I nearly did.
How was the nearly?
Went down to London to
Yeah.
stay with my mate down there, and I went to Capital Radio Studios when he was on there and tried to see if I could get in and just say hello, but he was busy doing something else, so never had the chance to do it, unfortunately. But anybody, go on YouTube and type in Kenny Everett, and
you'll see what we're saying.
and you'll understand.
You'll
And it's
see
very
what we're
hard to
saying.
describe. But,
Yeah, listen to the man. He was a radio pioneer, you know.
Yep.
That's what you've got to remember. And see what he took to a Beatles records as well. One other E person was Jeffrey Ellis. he was kind of a business associate of Epstein. He was an insurance salesman to begin with. Lived locally, went to live in America or represent an insurance company in America. And then he created the Beatles Incorporated out back in America. I've actually talked to him and got an email off him. So that was nice.
There you go.
And he was nice enough to say, yeah, you can mention me, that's no problem. So that was nice of him to say so. How about some Beatle places? See if you know where these are.
Off you go.
Everton. What's Everton? That's
Everton,
a place.
yes, I've heard of
place
that.
in Liverpool.
Yes.
What's the connection with Everton?
I don't know.
Well, the McCartneys came from Everton, part of the district of Liverpool, mostly where Paul's dad and his family are all around from, and they all kind of gravitated there. So Everton is in Liverpool, and people get confused going, I keep hearing Everton and Liverpool. Well, there is an Everton and there is a Liverpool, but they're football team names. How about Elmswood Nursing Home? So I mentioned it earlier. It's in a place called Mossley Hill, and it's surrounding Sefton Park. Which is a nice enough building, but it was what the Salvation Army called a home for unwed mothers. There was the Empire Theatre, which Mark covered pretty well tonight.
Yeah.
The Empress Pub.
Oh, aye.
Now that's something's happening up there at the moment. I'm not sure. It's either being made into a pub or a theme bar, or something's happening.
Yeah,
up
I
there.
know. It was in the paper the other day. Something's getting done with it, or it's getting restored, or something like that.
It's going to be a place to stay, isn't it? You just got a feeling somebody will make some money from it.
Definitely.
We talked about Isha or Esher, if you can't say it properly, and the Edelweiss Hotel. What kind of clues do you reckon are in that?
Where they stayed when they were filming Help?
Is the right answer. When they were doing the skiing stuff, yeah. So the Edelweiss Hotel. Who knows if they recorded any songs out there? I don't know any more than that.
Neither do I.
So here we are. We've done our E's. We're
Aye.
E'd out. And our tank is empty.
Aye.
We are ready to exit. And it's almost time to go E. Is that the time?
I'd just like to say thank you to a book by a fellow called Ron Jones, the Beatles Liverpool, The Complete Guide, which I did some quotes from. And also a book called The Beatles, The Long and Winding Road, The History of the Beatles on Records, published by Virgin, compiled by Neville Stannard, and there's all sorts of stuff in that. All the Beatles tracks and information abounded.
You can always find a bunch of stuff, can't you? You know, just look into it. There's more stuff than you say. I never knew that.
Loads
I
of
can't
stuff.
remember that. Then there's us doing our podcast.
Aye.
I'd like to thank the person who wrote the Beatleplaces book and the Beatleplaces Family Trees book and the Beatleplaces
Who might that be?
Pub quiz. Me. It was me. And the fella's called M.E., whoever he is. Me. No, there's other books, but all that information is kind of out there and available, but we hope the podcast entertains you while we talk about the Beatles. Our love of Liverpool and the Beatles is always there, and we'll be back for more when we do a letter F.
Thank you for listening,
Yep.
and sorry we bored the backside off you. But,
I'll notice later when I have a bath.
Aye. So that's it for this session, really.
I think we're done.
My bus is coming.
Oh, is that
And,
thing? Oh, no, yeah. Oh, it is. Isn't
It's
it?
a nice bus, though. Yeah. So I'll be hopping on that in a minute, and that's it for this time. So
You've had your lot.
how about a little tune before we go?
Okay, hit them maracas. Thanks for listening to the Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col. We hope to see you again real soon, and don't forget to visit the gift shop on the way out.